Myself, Dr. Yogesh, Head of the Department, Electronics and Communication Engineering, East Point College of Engineering Technology, Bangalore. I'm also the branch counsel of East Point IEEE student branch. Dear friends, when you educate one person, you can change a life. When you educate many, you can change the world. This particular right phrase is good for this particular moment. We are going to have a technical talk on research-based learning for development of employability skills in young minds. At the outset, I would like to thank our management, principal sir, and IEEE Bangalore section for giving us a platform to organize this kind of event. Initially, I would like to call upon our principal sir, Dr. Prakash, to talk few words on this occasion. Prakash sir, over to you. Sir, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, sir. Yeah.
Good morning, friends. I'm Dr. Prakash, Principal, East Point College of Engineering and Technology. Thank you, Professor, taking your time and coming and addressing our students and for many of the people across the world. We have quite a good number of registrations for this event, for this webinar. We have a lot of people who have come online on YouTube and Facebook also. Thank you so much, sir. This is one topic where it has really made a big difference. This COVID-19 has told us, and it has really made the people to think a lot of innovation ideas, more specifically on education sector. Many times we as faculties were fearing to come on in front of the camera, but now we are dare enough to come. So many of sessions we have handled now, we are dare enough to come. So the complete, I personally feel there is a paradigm shift in the way the education services will be delivered tomorrow after COVID-19. Probably, how can we really look out to bring research as one component in the teaching learning process? Very unfortunately in India, what happens is that research was a very last component. Basically, we focus on empowering the students and fundamentals. We see the students to get placed in the industry. But after AICT in 2014, when they signed up to the Washington Accord, they brought research as one component in the teaching learning process in their complete AICT framework. This is a great thing. I think I'm not the right person to speak about how to bring research into the teaching learning process and empower the young minds to build a career in IT industry or whichever job they want to take it up. Professor, thank you once again for taking your time, sir. It's great to have you here and to listen to you all. Thank you once again. Over to Yogesh once again.
Thank you, Prakash sir. Prakash sir will be keep telling, rather than employability skills, deployability skills are very much important. To have a deployability skills, research plays a major role, according to me. So in this regard, it's a great pleasure and honor to welcome our key speaker for today, Dr. G.R. Sinha. I'd like to briefly introduce Dr. G.R. Sinha here. Dr. G.R. Sinha is working as an adjunct professor in IIIT Bangalore, and he has been deputed to MIIT Myanmar, Mandalay as a professor. He is also honorary visiting professor of Sri Lanka Technological Campus, Colombo. To his credit, he has around 250 research articles published, and he is also author and editor of 10 books with reputed publishers such as Elsevier, Springer, IOP, CRC Press, to name few. He has supervised around 8 PhD scholars and actively involved in review of editorial activities of few reputed journals. Dr. Sinha is ACM Distinguished Speaker in the area of DSP. He is the Fellow of IEI, IETE, Senior Member of IEEE. He has been assigned a task for coordinating Distinguished Lecturers Series and digital library activities of ACM for Hyderabad Deccan ACM Chapter India. Sir, it's my privilege and honor to have on this occasion. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yogesh. Thank you so much, Dr.
Welcome.
Prakash. And thank you so much, IEEE EPCET, for inviting me, connecting me with a good number of people who are excited, who may be excited to listen to this important lecture. Now, kindly allow me to share my screen, then we'll directly straight away go to the lecture.
Thank you, sir.
I hope the slides are visible there.
It to be visible, sir.
Is it visible now? I've
Yeah,
already
yeah,
shared my
yeah,
screen.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's visible, sir. You can carry on.
Okay. So I request all of the participants to kindly mute themselves. After 1:15 IST, I will stop, and then whatever questions you can ask or you have in your mind, you can definitely ask. I wanted to make this very important lecture interactive, but due to time constraint, we won't be able to entertain the questions in between. So let us complete the talk by 1:15, and after that, I will take up 3 to 4 important questions from the audience. So once again, thank you so much, EPCET. Thank you so much, Dr. Yogesh, Dr. Prakash, IEEE chapter in your institute for inviting me. It's my immense pleasure to be with all of you today, this afternoon. And I'm always very happy to talk about this topic, that is research-based learning for developing employability skills in young minds, because this topic is the need of the time. This topic is the need of the hour. Research-based learning, it has nothing to do with what research we carry out, we investigate in our scientific activities, scientific initiatives. Research for me is an approach. Research for me is a lifestyle. Research for me is a life learning opportunity, and therefore this way of learning can greatly help everyone. This particular lecture aims not only to the students, but it aims to cater the need and the requirement of all the people, whether they are professionals, faculty members, or anyone. So let's move ahead with the lecture outline. My lecture outline will be highlighting on motivation, employability skills, research-based learning, success and competence, and I'll be also talking on ICT tools. Because these days, with the advances of technologies, there are a lot of ICT tools are available, and anyone, even from a village, can make a smart use of ICT tool and develop the employability skill, which is very much required in every one of us. So you can see that in the outline slide, you can see a picture. Employability skill includes confidence, attitude, accountability, motivation, time management, stress management, presentation skill, adaptability, teamwork, etc., etc. These are the main components of employability skill, but these are not only limited. And therefore, when we talk about employability skill, it's not a single skill which we can buy from the market, which we can learn from attending a lecture or attending a coaching center anywhere in the world. But this is oneself who can change and who can learn and who can develop this skill. And therefore, this is a set of skills which could be developed by oneself. And this setup skill is not limited to these skills, but there are many more which are part of multiple intelligence. So with this note, I'll begin my lecture with motivation, and then I will be moving to employability skills. What do I mean to say by employability skills? Does employability skill mean the set of skills which are required in graduates to get a job, to get an employment? It's not absolutely true. It is not correct. So what do I mean to say by employability skills? We will try to understand. and then we'll move to research-based approach, research-based learning that helps everyone, that can help everyone to develop the set of skills, what we are calling as the employability skills. And why I have included success and competence here is the ultimate aim of developing employability skills in anyone. The person may be a farmer, the person may be anyone, may be educated, maybe not formally educated or educated, it doesn't matter. But the main objective of developing a good set of skill is to get success in his or her respective career. And how to enjoy the success, that is very important. How to enjoy the sustainable career growth, that is most important thing. Getting a job may be a success, but enjoying that job with a sustainable career growth is another thing. So what is required in order to do that? Competence. And what is that competence? We will be discussing about competence as well as success process in this lecture. And finally, we'll be concluding by, highlighting on how ICT tools can be of great help to every one of us in the process of developing employability skills. So let's begin with a good thought, that is good motivation. That's my general practice. And I believe that this must be a practice of anyone who is trying to inculcate good values and good scientific temper in anyone, especially young minds. When we talk about any technical topic inside the classroom, probably we must begin with the motivating factor. What is the importance of the topic? When you are doing a communication course, what is the importance of that communication course must be talked about in the very first lecture. So therefore, this is, the motivating slide. It highlights why this topic. And I will try to connect with the great thoughts of these modern thinkers. There is Dr. Kalam, he is one of my ideals. Dr. Kalam, in his vision of developed India, he, used to travel all across the world, especially all across the country. And he always used to meet young minds. And wherever he visited young minds, youth, he always used to give an emphasis on these things. That is, there is a need of scientific temper in young minds. Scientific temper has to be developed. Scientific temper has to be inculcated in every youth, every young minds. And another thing which he was always talking about is there is a need for global set of skills to grab global opportunities. Why do we talk about local opportunities? Let us develop ourselves so that we become competent globally. Especially during COVID-19 time, people, so many people, millions of people are in stress with the fear of, loss of job or many other factors. But I can tell you at the end of this lecture, you will realize when you have competence, I want to tell you there will not be any fear of, loss of job or anything during or as a post-COVID-19 impact. So there is another great thinker, Dhirubhai. You see his byline: think big, think fast, think ahead. Ideas are no one's monopoly. See that how important the line is, and that was his vision. Think big. Wherever Dr. Kalam visited, he always used to call upon the youth and said one thing: dream big. What is wrong in dreaming big? You may be thinking that how will I correlate these thinkings with the research approach? In the research also we see the same thing. We dream big. We dream of achieving something which has not been accomplished, which has not been attempted by other persons. We do the same thing. So therefore, think big, think fast, think ahead. Ideas are no one's monopoly. One can think, one can have any idea and can apply, can put his or her efforts to prove the, to prove the hypothesis or the thought which he or she is beginning with. So with this, great thought, motivational thought, there is one more important slide. You can see, uncover the perfection. As I told you, whenever I begin a lecture, I begin with some inspiring, motivating thought. Why this lecture? And I'm trying to correlate. So there is one more, interesting picture. You can see that people, the guys are trying to unhide and trying to see something. So there is a quote of Swami Vivekananda: each soul is potentially divine. Each soul is potentially divine. What is important? The goal is to manifest the divinity. I can tell you, each one of us has immense potential, immense ability. What is important is to realize that ability and to demonstrate and to manifest the divinity. How it can be done? Does research-based learning have any solution for this? Yes. Can research-based learning help us in manifesting the divinity within? My answer is yes. So, removing all the obstacles on the way of achieving perfection. No one is perfect in the universe except truth and God. But we always aim at achieving perfection. And while we aim at, or while we move towards achieving perfection, there are obstacles, there are difficulties, there are odds which we need to overcome. Does research-based learning cater that? Can research-based learning do that? My answer is yes. So with this thing, let's move to another interesting picture. This part, as I told you, the first part of my lecture is motivation. So here you will find full of motivating things. I came to Myanmar 3 years ago. I asked here, do you watch Bollywood movies? Most of them, they replied, young guys, yes, they have seen Three Idiots. And wherever I visited, I asked a common question outside India, that which movie you have seen. The common answer is Three Idiots. And this movie was great. Why? There was a great message. And what was the great message? Three Idiot, where what is idiot? Idiot is one or someone who listens to his heart and chases his dream. But what is important here? First of all, we should see a dream. We must have a big dream. And then we must start chasing it in order to achieve, in order to make our dream true. Young guys, young students who are attending this lecture may be thinking, oh, this is what, nonsense, this is not possible. But I can tell you, this is absolutely possible. And this lecture, I have, prepared this lecture on the basis of my own life experience. The research-based learning, the set of skills which you can earn, which you can develop, can transform your personality. How we will come to that part? I'm just trying to, motivate you guys why research and how research-based learning. So the idiot, the idiotic way of thinking, the idiotic way of understanding and analyzing something, is that included in research? Yes. And therefore, I will quote one more line of Amir Khan. When you have seen the movie, Amir Khan was found saying, I believe in Bangalore, almost everyone understands Hindi. So he was found saying, work for Kabiliyat. If you are Kabil, Kamyabi will follow you. What is Kabil? Kabil is competent. It means if you have competence, the success will follow you. I mean, just believe this line. If you have competence, success will simply follow you. And therefore, for me, success is not an important thing. For me, for my life, for me, the lifelong goal is to excel and excel in order to develop better and better competence in me. So what must be goal? The goal must be competence, not the success. Success will simply follow you. You just believe me. Then there is another interesting picture. This is a global reality. Principal Dr. Prakash was, making a very interesting point, and that's very important point, that fundamentally our students are very good. And I want to tell you, we guys, Indian students, and millions of other students, they are extremely doing well in academics. They are fundamentally good in academics. But you see this scenario, pool of graduates, and all these graduates, they claim that they are meritorious, they have good grades, they have good marks, they have done good projects, they have done good internships. But what is global reality? The global reality is the selection committee will always search for few of them. Now, what is needed? Can I be there in few of them? My answer is yes. How can I be in few of them chosen or selected by the selection committee? If they find me unique, if they find me different from others in terms of quality, in terms of attitude, in terms of aptitude, and above all, in terms of set of skills, they will hire me. They will hire me. And therefore, this is the global reality. But are we prepared? Knowing this fact, and if we think we are prepared, and if we think we can prepare ourselves, we need to develop a lot of things. What are those lot of things? We'll move to the next slide. There is another interesting picture highlighting and depicting another global reality. This is reality, I tell you. What is that reality? Look at the bottom line. What we are looking for is somebody about 25 with 40 years of experience. What we are looking for is somebody about 25 with 40 years of experience. This is a global reality. Every employer, every company, every university needs, wants, aspires to have an enthusiastic person, an enthusiastic young guy, very enthusiastic, energetic young guy. But they think that the person is 25, but with 40 years of experience. How it is possible? It is possible. A person is 23 or 25, but he or she can have the pragmatic experience, the pragmatic thought process, the pragmatic way of thinking of a 40-year or 45-year-old person. And therefore, when I talk about young minds, my young minds, for me, young minds are not youth only. Young mind resides in everyone who is enthusiastic. Young mind resides in everyone who is energetic. Young mind resides in everyone who has a big dream. Young mind resides in everyone who has big thing to serve for the society, who has a dream and aim to serve the society, his family, and he has an aim to make his parents greatly proud. All those are young minds for me. And therefore, I never believe that I am 45-year-old. I say that I am 45-year-old boy, 45-year-old youth, because of I believe that I have enthusiasm. I believe that I have, great energy, and therefore, I can, be considered as a 25-year-old guy. So the meaning is you need to have that kind of experience, that kind of set of skills, that kind of attitude in you, and the industry and the employer are only expecting such guys. That's the global reality. So that was the first part. I believe, I hope you must have now by this time become enthusiastic, so much enthusiastic about for knowing what is next. The next is employability skills. When I talk about employability skills, let me answer one thing. Why did I mention about me that I'm highly enthusiastic? The guys may, argue. They may think that, professor is saying he's enthusiastic. He is just praising himself, but I'm not praising myself. I want to tell you one interesting thing. Last year, I visited one of the university in Myanmar, Mithila. In Myanmar, there is a university, Mithila place. In 2 days, I spoke for 9 hours, 30 minutes. First day, I reached there in morning. I delivered lectures for 6 hours. Second day, I delivered lectures for 3 hours, 30 minutes. At the end of 9 hours and 30 minutes, the faculty members in Myanmar, more than 90% of teachers are ladies. So all ladies, they approached me and they asked me, Professor, yesterday you came here, you had so much of enthusiasm, and today we meet you in dinner, and even after delivering, talking 9 hours and 30 minutes, you have even more enthusiasm and energy. What is the secret? The secret is have big dreams. The secret is be positive. The secret is have goals, big goals. The secret is always think that you can learn. Always think yourself, keep yourself in learning mode. And that will make you really enthusiastic and energetic. So let's go to employability skills. What do I want to say by, what do I mean by employability skills? So this slide highlights on some 21st century skills, the modern century, the current century skill set requirement. In 21st century workforce, when we want to join an industry, any industry, I'll tell you what type of industries I'm talking about. In context with any type of industry, this lecture is relevant. So 21st century workforce, there are set of skills required, but broadly they are two. One, development of multiple intelligence. Number two, high value on verbal and written communication. Development of multiple intelligence. Today we can't say that I'm excellent in academics, I'm excellent in all my subjects, but I'm employable and therefore I'm employable. May not be true. Today we have to have multiple intelligence. What do I mean to say by multiple intelligence? We must have ability to have critical thinking, decision making, problem solving, interpersonal relationship, effective communication, coping with stress, self-awareness, and many more. These all need to be there, or some of them need to be there in young guys, in all of us. Then only we can say that we have multiple intelligence. You might be wondering, you may be thinking that the topic is research-based learning to help development of employability skills. And these are the skill sets. Does research-based learning can research-based learning help in developing all of these? My answer is yes. I will tell you how research-based learning can help in developing all these skills. And what is next? High value on verbal and written communication. High value on written and verbal communication. I can tell you, most of the researchers, most of we students fail to do in this particular area of communication, in this area of skill set. That is, we write very badly. I tell you, very badly. We communicate very badly. Speaking in a particular language is one thing, but how are you speaking? How good you are speaking? How good you are communicating? That's important, and that will make you different. That will make you unique. When I talk about this communication skill, I always mention about me. When I was doing my BTech from NIT Raipur from 1994 to 1998, belonging from a typical village of Chhattisgarh, I was not able to speak Hindi during my graduate studies. More than that, I won't talk more about me. But what I can say is, if you have big dream, if you have enthusiasm, if you have desire to do, if you have path to do, and if you have determination to do, you will achieve it. And therefore nowadays I'm visiting here and there, talking to so many people. Every week I'm doing 3 webinars and people are listening. I'm not again praising about myself. What I'm trying to say, if you reach out, if you communicate with a proper and appropriate language, with a proper and appropriate grammar and all that, then people would listen to you. Does research help us? My answer is yes. Research-based learning, research-based approach can greatly help every one of you, every one of us to develop this verbal as well as written communication. If you look at the bottom one picture, one flow diagram, knowledge plus skill makes us employable. Now you can understand 10 years ago, 20 years ago, around 20, 25 years ago, the person who was graduated got a job, used to get a job based on knowledge and academic grade and mark sheet and merit. But now, as you have seen one interesting picture in the motivation part, pool of graduates. There are millions of graduates who are good in knowledge, but those who are employable having good set of skills, and that makes employable. And therefore, these are some of the skills which constitute one skill called as employability skill. Principal Dr. Prakash was talking about Washington Accord and graduate attributes. These graduate attributes are not only important for students, I want to tell you. These graduate attributes are practically possible and pragmatic attributes. These are not, the attributes which we have to adopt because these were suggested by the Washington Accord of USA. No, these are pragmatic attributes. We must have engineering knowledge. You must have ability to have problem analysis, conduct investigation, modern tool usage, teamwork, communication, lifelong learning, engineer in the society. Our ultimate aim, why do we do research? Why do we study? Why do we want to become, educated? Our ultimate aim is to serve oneself, family, society, and the mankind. And therefore, the ultimate aim of engineering and studies is to serve the society, is to serve the mankind. And therefore, project management, finance, economy, environment, sustainability, ethical values, human values, and so on. All these are actually called as graduate attributes. Research has answer for all these? My answer is yes. If you do research-based learning, my dear friends, dear students especially, don't think that I'm suggesting you to go for a brilliant, great amount of or a great research work. No, if you are doing, that's great. Even if you are not doing, I will tell you what is research-based approach of learning. So let's move to the next slide. I was talking about industry. Industry requires, what does industry expect? Technical and soft skills. Every industry expects good technical and good soft skills in everyone. And they require candidates who can integrate into institute or organization with peers, managers, juniors, customers, and partners. In final year, I have seen the students approach to their supervisor. They say, sir, professor, I'm not comfortable with this girl or boy. Change my project group, change my project team. Oh, come on. When you are appointed in Google in USA and you're one of the colleague, one of the peer is from China and one is from Singapore, other is from UK and fourth one is from Taiwan. There you would say that, no, I'm not comfortable. You have to learn this. Does research-based learning help in learning this? Yes. Professionals, industry requires professionals who can adapt to multicultural environment and virtual teams. These are the career options. So when I say that the employability skills are required for industries, what do I mean by saying industries? Any industry, IT industry, academia. Most of the students, they do not think academia as an industry. That's the most unfortunate thing. Academia is a big industry, I want to tell you, big industry. I am in academics by my choice, I tell you. I am in academics by my choice. After my graduation, I worked in the software industry for 1 year. I left the job. I was doing my job in Delhi. I went back to NIT, started ad hoc lecturership. So I'm here in this academics by choice because I believe there is a tremendous possibility. There is a tremendous scope. Students do not know. If they do masters from good institute, they can go for good PhD program, not only in Indian IITs and triple ITs, but there are so many foreign universities who are offering scholarships for their PhD programs. If they go for PhD programs in good universities, do you know that how much opportunities are there in research and teaching? Huge opportunities. People are saying that next 1 year there would be no jobs in teaching. Just Google, you will find a number of universities are hiring good people who are good in research and good in academics. So academia is also an industry. Government services, people think that getting a job in government sector is only a job, only an employment. I don't believe. I never believe in that. Entrepreneurship, you can have your own business. You can start your own startup or your business. Now one can say that, one can ask, if I'm planning to start my own business, why do I need to develop these skill sets? Oh, come on, it's all important. If Mukesh Ambani or he thinks that he doesn't need these skill sets, and he will be the richest person in in India. It's not possible. He or any business or any person who is aspiring to have a great business has to have these set of skills. Service industries. So any industry, any type of industry, the common set of skills is needed, what we are calling here as the employability skill. Employability skill is, you just read first line here. Let's just define the employability skills. The skills, attitude and qualities to get and keep a job. The important thing is to get and keep a job. To get and keep a job. Getting a job, as I told you, campus interview was held in your institute. 100 students got selected in TCS or any other industry. How many of they are doing wonders? How many of they got opportunities, outside the country and the important projects? Very few of them. So what is important is to get a job, but to keep a job, to enjoy sustainable career growth. I use the term sustainable career growth. You have exponential career growth. You have great career growth. If you are skilled, I will tell you, you will enjoy your sustainable career growth if you are competent. Can you become competent? Yes. So what is employability skill? It's a set of attributes, skills and knowledge required to become capable and effective in workplace to benefit. See, why do we want to develop employability skill? After this lecture, some young guys may discuss, these are all, these are the things which are written in book and newspaper and magazines. But I really want to tell you, you will realize after after some time that this is something which is very, very important, that can benefit yourself, that can benefit employer. If you are very good in skill, if you are skilled person, your contribution would help the employer in industry also, and subsequently economy, subsequently your country, and subsequently your society as well. And therefore, let's target at developing a great set of skills called as employability skills. There is one line which is written, 20 to 30% of graduates are employable. What does it mean? You can find a number of surveys, number of studies, the PPT, pre-placement talk, the industry people come to your institute, they'll always give one presentation and they will always highlight on this line that only 20, hardly 30% of graduates, not only in India, I tell you, not only in India, anywhere in the world, in most part of the world, only 30% of the graduates are employable. What does it mean? They are not employable. They don't have employability skill set. Yes, they can get a job, but they are not happy in their job. They are not getting growth in the job. People can argue that no, we don't have opportunities. There are no jobs. There are jobs. You have to snatch the jobs. You have to grab the opportunities. How to grab those opportunities? This 20 to 30%, you have to be there in 20 to 30% of the graduates who are employable. So I think the second part of the lecture was on, I attempted to, highlight and discuss on what is employability scale. First part was motivation. Let's recapitulate. Second was employability scheme. And the third now, which is even more important, is the research-based learning. Try to understand how this learning can help in development of employability skills. So as I told you, research for me is not a scientific process or scientific method to carry out or investigate something. Of course it is, but beyond that, I have a broader meaning of research for me. What is this? See, generally you ask any researcher, any of your colleague, any of your peer, any of your professor, how do you carry out a research work? How do you do your research? Research may be writing a research paper, writing a patent, writing a thesis, doing a research grant, doing some project, whatever. All these are research, where something has already been done by other people. You want to do something new by your own. That is called as research. So what is the common approach in the research? There is an interesting cycle, interesting diagram. Look at this slide. Look at this diagram. Ask a question. I mean, any research begins with asking a question. Means you begin with an idea. You begin with a question that I want to achieve this. I want to improve the sanitation facilities in Bangalore. I want to improve the agricultural, to improve the productivity of agricultural product in the Bangalore region. I want to work on a smart environment monitoring system in Bangalore region. Why can't you have such idea? Why can't you have some question like this? So in a research, what do? We begin with a question. Then when I decide that I want to do something for Bangalore, something for USA or something for other country, something for the society, what do I need to do the next task, next job? Do some background research. You have to investigate, you have to study whatever you are thinking. Are there other persons who have attempted this, who have tried this? You can ask why it is required. It is required because you will understand what type of data they have worked, what type of method they have implemented, what is their success and what is their failure, what are their major challenges, and those challenges we can take up and we can overcome, and that becomes new research. So in the research approach, I will correlate with your fundamental study of any course. Please wait. I will just correlate this diagram with the fundamental study of any subject which we study, right? So after background research, what do? Construct hypothesis. Hypothesis is an abstract. We plan your abstract, your hypothesis includes everything. That this is a problem with rural India. This problem has been solved by 100 researchers, but there are difficulties in these research. I want to plan this, therefore I'm proposing this, I will achieve this. So what, how, what you will achieve, what you will contribute, why this topic, everything is included in a paragraph called as hypothesis. Then what do? You test with experiment, you test with studies, you test with surveys, and then you analyze the result after experimenting. And in the research, one important thing is, it is not necessary that you will be always true. It is not necessary that your hypothesis will always be true. If it is not true, if it is true, okay, you report the result. If it is not true, just go back. Just go back. There is nothing wrong. Either change the hypothesis or change the methodology, change the problem domain, change the way you have implemented, change some parameters. You will achieve whatever you planned to achieve in the research. I want to tell you, this is a simple research approach. This is what is research actually. When we talk about research with the students think, oh my God, this is research. What is research? We can't do. This is a simple process called as research. There is one more quote. This quote is quoted by, quoted with always a country name, but that country name I won't mention now. You will understand why I'm not mentioning the name of the country, right? Involve me and I will understand. Last line. Tell me, I'll forget. Show me, I may remember. But what is last important line? Involve me and I will understand. This is very important. When you want to understand something thoroughly, you have to involve yourself. Research gives all opportunity to involve yourself in the learning process. I give one example. A student has to complete a course. The name of the course is Analog and Digital Communication. For example, analog and or image processing course, image processing and computer vision. Image processing and computer vision is a common course these days for all disciplines. Therefore, I'm talking about image processing and computer vision. Now, the students, what they will do? They will refer a book. They will read everything in the book. They will prepare everything: image enhancement, image segmentation, image filtering, pre-processing, post-processing, feature extraction, everything they will answer. But what do we do when we are talking about contrast enhancement? Just read some literature, read some good research papers. What is the use of contrast enhancement in medical imaging? Who are the medical professionals? Where are the modern diagnostic centers where they're using these techniques? Let us do some research. Let us study some papers. Because if you remember Ambani ji, why I have included his picture. 20 years back, Reliance mobile phone came with a byline, "Kar lo duniya muthi mein." Now I remember that byline, the entire dunya is in our muthi. The entire world is in your fingertip. And therefore, you can attend any lecture of MIT, Harvard today. Any lecture of any professor is available in YouTube and other platforms. Open courseware are there. And therefore, when we are studying a computer vision, when we are studying a topic, why do we prepare for the sake of getting good grade? Why do we prepare for the sake of getting good marks? Do we really, want to develop ourselves? If we are serious about developing ourselves, we will research about the topic. We will see that what the MIT professor says about this topic. This topic was well taught by my professor. Let us see how the same topic is taught or delivered by Harvard professor. You will find that a lot of practical examples, a lot of real-time examples. This is how you will be correlating. And when you do it, one person will not do. If you find an interesting article where you will find the use of some image processing method, you will discuss with your friend. See that, oh my God, the driverless car or the robotics or the computer application, the application of computer vision. This is a great application. Can you see this? Then you will start discussing with your peers. Then you will start discussing with your friends. Now, these are the challenges and these are the advances in this technology, in this area. That's the research way of learning. And this cycle helps you in doing that. And research provides learning environment. When you follow the research-based learning, it follows learning environment. How? Let us understand quickly what research is. There was a diagram. I hope everyone has understood what the research is, but there is interesting definition. Research is careful, systematic, patient study, investigation in some field of knowledge undertaken to establish facts or principles. What is even more important line is a discovery, rather rediscovery of OH from known to unknown. What do we do in research? We have known facts. We apply all those known facts and data, and we try to accomplish something which was not achieved by someone in the existing literature, in the existing papers, in the existing articles that we try to do. And what is the aim of research? We try to solve real world problems, questions, issues, challenges, and we try to create presentations, products, and whatever we have learned through that we try to present about the product or thing which we have implemented. This is the research approach. There is an interesting diagram that research can help in development of self-confidence, personal presentation, attitude, teamwork, planning, problem solving, IT skill set, enthusiasm, flexibility, reliability, writing skill. If your writing skill is bad, keep writing. And when I say keep writing, I'm not asking you to write research paper. If you write research paper, very good. But if you don't write research paper, be happy. Write many other things which you are interested in. If you are interested in writing a story, write a story. Actually, we don't do that. Write a story, post on a blog, post on LinkedIn. If you have good understanding about a culture, if you have good understanding about social media, if you have good understanding about economy of US, write about it. Post on social media, post on LinkedIn. I will tell you with suitable hashtag. If you write something on IoT and healthcare, just put hashtag. Those who are working, those who are doing something on IoT will just get connected with you automatically. So your collaboration skill will increase. Your teamwork will increase. That is, will improve. Your writing skill will improve. Your reading comprehension will improve. Today, most of the guys fail to have good reading comprehension. They just immediately conclude when they read a book, when they read a paragraph, they quickly conclude without understanding anything. So therefore, when you follow the research based style, when you read an article of 3 pages, do research. Just try to study about first paragraph only. Discuss with your friends, what does it talk about, what does it talk about, can we do something in this particular area. Like that, if that is the approach, one can develop all these things. And of course, I always tell you, motivation is top, self-confidence is at the top. If I lose my confidence, if I'm not highly motivated, forget about achieving anything in your life, forget about achieving any goal in your life. Does research make you motivated? My answer is big yes. Does research help you in improving and building self-confidence? My answer is big yes. Self-confidence, I'm not saying overconfidence. I will not say I only can do it. That is my overconfidence. I can't do it. Low confidence. But I can say I can do it. How can I do it? Just keep trying. Just keep trying. Keep trying and try to solve the problem. At the end of day or many number of attempts, you will be able to solve the problem. We just quit. We don't discuss with our friends. We don't discuss with our professors. We don't discuss with the global community. Quora platform, LinkedIn platform, blogs are there. Why don't we post our great thoughts which come in our mind? We don't do. We think that people would laugh at us. That's the problem. We always think about others. We don't think about ourselves. And that makes us apprehensive. We are in apprehension that we won't be able to do it. And therefore, we don't start. We don't initiate. No, research is a big thing. We don't want to do and we can't do it. That's the problem. I mean, the next part is about Bloom's taxonomy. I think I will not give much time on Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is the taxonomy that simplifies the objectives and verbs for learning outcomes. What we can achieve, how can we achieve effectively. So there are guidelines by the Bloom's taxonomy. I wanted to give some more time, but I think we can skip Bloom's taxonomy. What I can say about that, there are some verbs, there are some terms which are highlighted by the Bloom's taxonomy to use more and more. Like, something which you want to demonstrate, you can use the terms define, describe, identify, collect, examine, tabulate, quote, who, when, where. So when you read an article, you just, you read a book, you read a topic, inquire about everything. Definition, listing something, identifying something, collecting some information, examining what the content is, tabulate some information, quoting something, who has mentioned this, when it was described, where it is given, where is the application of this content. These all terms are very important. Like these are the terms related to comprehension: summarize, describe, interpret, contrast, predict, associate. When we study a topic, do we attempt to associate the topic with application, real-time application? Do we estimate the impact of something? Do we discuss with someone? Do we discuss with friends? All these are important terms. So let's not discuss much. Let's go to this slide. Finally, how to develop skills. how to develop these skills. So these are the few examples that research can help you to develop your skill set. Like I'm saying that teamwork is a good employability skill. How one can do it? To learn teamwork, to develop teamwork, you have to work in team. Do we do that? Yes, we do that. We go to playground, we go to other activities in a teams, but there are many more things. Suppose even you are working in, you are playing on the playground, there are a lot of things which you can develop as a teamwork. Do we do it? Do we try to do it? Try to learn? Do we attempt to do this? The answer is probably no. Answer is probably no. When you are studying a course, when you are doing an experiment, when you are doing a project, how many times you discuss in a team? How many times you try to do in a team? We see, most of us know that there is a project. There are 3 students in a project. One student will do that project. Second student will go to the market for printing. Third will be just, the observer of that project. In most of the project, it happens. I'm not blaming, right? There are great institutes. There are great teams. The institutes like yours, where the people are doing seriously. But what I'm trying to say, when you are traveling in a bus, when you see some problem outside in a rural area, some person is selling vegetable and you think that something you can do to improve their lifestyle. You can create some ICT tool or some portal or some app that can help the poor fellow who are selling their vegetables. Why don't we think in that manner in the team? The persons with whom you are traveling in a bus, that's needed. To learn critical thinking, take on small problems and think in a complex way. To learn oral and verbal communication, present yourself. We don't present ourselves. We ask the questions, you don't respond. Do you ask the questions? You don't ask the questions. You have to present inside the class, start presenting yourself. If you have done very good project, develop a video, prepare a good video, make a YouTube channel, upload in the YouTube channel. This is how you will be getting comments and the feedback from outside world. Then you will realize, no, this is the area where I need to improve. This is the area where I need to improve in presenting my content. So if you want to really improve your verbal communication, you have to start presenting, speaking, discussing, interacting with the world. Not only interacting with Bangalore or other people, but you have now the entire world is open. Any person, you can connect, you can request, and you can interact and discuss about. But do we do it? We don't do it. Most of us fail to do it. To learn written communication, we have to write. I will tell you what are the activities I keep myself busy when it comes to writing skill. I will tell you. To learn technology, use technology judiciously. To develop citizenship, you want to do good thing for the society, you have to take on some civic issues, global issues. This is a cycle for continuous improvement. This is a cycle for continuous improvement. Is this the research cycle? My answer is yes. In research, what do? We plan that we will make this big project, we will make this big module, we will write a good paper and research article. So what do? Say what you want. Say what you want. Then what do? Do what we say. Do what we say. We try to prove what we started with, and then we try to prove. And if we are not able to prove, we try to improve it. There is nothing wrong in getting failure. We have not been able to prove it, so we try to just prove it. This is the research approach. Can we follow this approach for development of employability skill? My answer is yes. If I believe that I have great content, I am good in some particular area, I must start writing about it. I must start reading about it. I must start discussing about it with the global community. Go to Twitter, go to LinkedIn, go to many other platforms, especially LinkedIn. You just get connected with the people. With the help of your small work which you are posting, the people will just get connected to you. And they will be communicating to you, they will be suggesting you, they will be commenting on you, commenting on your work, and you will be improving, and you will be trying to achieve what you aimed to achieve. So I think the third part I have done justice that research-based learning is nothing but an approach where you can follow this style. Whatever we do, suppose we do a project work, we study a course, we do any type of activity, even in our life, the approach must be research approach. Something we are not able to, accomplish in our life, personal life. What do we do, to make us happy? Let us start thinking about it, that what went wrong. Let us start introspecting about it. What is wrong with me? What is wrong with the, this particular thing? Therefore, we are not getting success in this particular, project or personal accomplishment. Then you will study, then you will discuss with your peers, your well-wishers, and then you will try to improve. Suppose you have some weaknesses, you will try to overcome the weaknesses. Does research guide you? Does research inspire you? Does research motivate you to overcome yourself, overcome your weaknesses? My answer is big yes. Because until you overcome the difficulties and weaknesses, you will not get the desired result in the research. So the last part, 15 minutes, I have reserved success process. I told you that I will be connecting the entire thing with the success process. The success process, there is one more great personality, right? This is the great ideal in my life. Whatever I am today, because of this great person. Whatever I am, all my accomplishments, more than 12 national and international awards, all credit goes to this great personality. And what is opinion about this great personality for success? He says, take up one idea, make that one idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea, let the brain, muscles, nerves, every part of your body be full of that idea. This is the way to success. Is this the research approach? See, Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda, 1902. After 1902, he's no more with us. But see his thoughts. And his thought is nothing but a research thought. That is modern thought. Therefore, I take him as a modern thinker. I never take him as an ancient thinker. Swami Vivekananda is a modern thinker. Is is a life. What I can say is a great personality that has just transformed my life. Why? Take up one idea. In research, what do? We ask a question, we begin with an idea, make the one idea throughout your life. In the research cycle, what do? We try to prove that idea completely in the research cycle. We think about it, we dream about it, we live on that idea, even we are eating, even we are traveling, even we are driving, we think about it. Oh no, there is some problem in the laboratory. Oh, 3 attributes I can change. Then I can prove that particular area. No, that algorithm could be modified. So wherever we are, let the brain, muscles, every part of our body be just dedicated, committed to that that thing. That is the success process. Does research allow you? I will say yes. How? The success process begins with goal identification. You have to have a big dream. Dr. Kalam always used to say, in final year, we ask the students, what is your dream? What is your goal? They will do like that. Oh, my mother and father, they were saying that go for BTech ECE and CSE, therefore I opted for that. You have, in the final year, not yet decided what is your goal. So when you want to succeed in your life, the first process which you want to begin with is identification of goal. Strengthening commitment to the goal. You dreamt of becoming, the CEO of Google. There is nothing wrong. But are you committed in order to become CEO of Google? Do you know what is the path which can lead you to become CEO of Google? You can learn it. You can know it, discussing, with the discussion with a number of people who can guide you. But it has to be initiated, begin with dream. Then you have to be committed, change behavior, change attitude. If I think that this is the attitude, this is my behavior, which is not helping me in proving something research objective, I have to change it. In the success process, the biggest problem is we do not change our behavior. We do not change our attitude. We think that no, it's all right. Something is wrong in others. Therefore, it's not getting done. It's not getting accomplished. So if you read the last line is my quote. You can say that attitude and aptitude. See, you are very good in, you are very, fundamentally good in academics. You are extremely good in all your subjects. You are very good in numerical ability, quantitative ability. So it means your aptitude is very strong. But until your attitude is extremely good and positive, you can't achieve altitude. What is altitude? Great height. And therefore, aptitude and attitude will help us, will take you in the greater height, what we call as the attitude. And therefore, attitude is needed. What is the problem with negative attitude? Let us understand quickly. It weakens the commitment, because we have decided this is my dream, this is my goal, I am committed. But if I have negative attitude, what type of negative attitude? Overconfidence. No, I can do it, it's easy. No, I can't do it, no, it's impossible. Lack of self-worth. No, it is beyond my capability. Who says that I can do this? I have that thing. Adoption of victim role and cursing the authority. You did not get good grade, you did not get good marks. I found many students who will even curse their parents, curse their teachers, curse the laboratories, curse their universities. No, lab was very horrible. My teacher was horrible. My parents never understood me, therefore I did not do well in this course. Have you introspected what went wrong with you? Why 60% of other friends have excelled in that course and you did not do well? So cursing the authority. All negative approach, unwillingness to seek help. If you think that you can get help in order to accomplish your task from someone, you think that why will I approach that person? Oh, I have a approach, I have a reputation, I have a personality. I want to tell you, for me, if I know that I can get some help for my work, even from a third year or second year student, even from a cleaner who comes to my house, I will never hesitate in learning that thing which I can learn from others. So problem is unwillingness to seek help is negative attitude, and asking for help is positive attitude. Resistance to change, something which is permanent is change, and we always resist. We don't want to improve. Tendency toward procrastination. Tomorrow, professor has given good lecture. Tomorrow we will start practicing about all these things. Tomorrow never comes. I tell you, tomorrow never comes. Let us start from today. Not actually today. Let us start from now. Forget about today. The new term is let us start now. Avoidance of areas of weakness is negative attitude. If I know that these are my weakness areas, I try to avoid. Right? I will just avoid so that others, that in front of others, I'm not embarrassed. But if I know that this is my weakness, what I must do? I must work hard in order to overcome those weakness areas, those weaknesses. I mean, this is a very interesting slide highlighting the positive attitude. I have done, this is a kind of research I have taken from social media only. Fail, first attempt in learning. No, I failed in my life. No, I'm gone, right? Now I can't do anything in my life. I am completely, no, it's a disaster for me. But what actually fail is first attempt in learning. Take in that way. End means effort never dies. No means someone says, no, we'll not hire you. Next opportunity. Try for next opportunity and prove, to be a better candidate next time. Always compete with yourself. Fear is face everything and rise, not forget everything and run, just running away. So you must be knowing the story about this banyan tree. Even if it is fallen 100 years ago, it will again rise. So it has that attitude, positive attitude, the positive attitude for rising, positive attitude for again growing, rising. That has to be there. Does research help us in having these attitudes? My answer is big yes. And therefore, I mean, this is a lecture for 1 hour or 75 minutes. Generally, this is a topic I can talk for 6 hours. I can take a practical workshop for 6 hours, and practically we can discuss about each slide for 1 hour, 2 hours with real-time examples. Then only it would greatly benefit. But I thought that I can just expose all of you with a great motivation, with the idea that how this can transform every one of us. That was the idea. Otherwise, Each one of these things we can discuss for longer time and more amount of time. So the next thing is smart work and hard work. Today we need to be smart. We say that I had given 30 hours to that work, but I couldn't succeed. Might be you might not have been smart enough. What do I mean by smart? Smartness means working with the help of ICT these days. Smart means specific, measurable, achievable, result oriented, time bound. Are my goals smart goals? Are my dream, is my dream a smart dream? Today we have to say a smart dream, which is specific dream, which is measurable, that you can measure, that you can quantify, that you can achieve, and you can measure the result. You know, after 3 months you have achieved this thing, and it must be time bound. So today is the age where everyone has to use ICT tools, and one has to use social media for development, for learning opportunities smartly. And therefore, today is the age, today is the time where we have to be smart. We have to do smart work rather than doing hard work. 10 hours of hard work, 5 hours of smart work, sometimes 3 hours of smart work is better than 10 hours of hard work. So therefore, we have to use the technology and do hard work, smart work. So next slide talks about success and competence. I think I'm coming to the end of the talk. As I mentioned, that successful means getting an employment, getting a job, whereas competence and competent means enjoys sustainable career growth. My always objective, aim, the permanent aim is always for competence. To develop excellence, success is an intermediate, intermediate thing in our life. What is the ultimate aim? Excellence. What is the ultimate aim? Competence. There is no limit of competence. Just go on improving your competence. You will get better and better opportunities. You will get better and better career growth. You will get better and better happiness index and everything in your career. So ICT tools, I will not take much time here. I was telling you, do you like writing? Do you have some interested areas where you have good knowledge? If you have, why don't you try writing? All I have included in this slide: blog, LinkedIn, YouTube channel. I have YouTube channel. I don't have time to prepare lectures professionally, but whatever I do get, with the help of mobile phone, or you people will be giving the video after this webinar, I'll be uploading. So whatever I know, whatever I can present myself about my knowledge or fundamental course, which I have, some understanding, I will put on the YouTube. I use LinkedIn. I do post. I write regularly articles for newspapers, all reputed newspapers. I have attempted, and number of articles have been published in newspapers on different topics, not on technical topics always. Do we do it? You will again say with a negative attitude, no sir, the publisher will not accept. Okay, don't try for newspaper initially. Start with a blog. No one will stop you to write a blog. Is it a research approach? Yes. I tell you, by writing blogs on different topics, you will have overall all-round development, and that will inspire you to do new and new things in a newer way, and that's research. How to improve communication skill? There are some suggestions. Suppose you want to improve your communication skill. Start speaking coming out from inhibition. Something inhibits you. You don't, you just stop yourself. But you are not able to speak. Use phone, classroom, video, voice call, and just use these platforms. Engage in writing using blogs, LinkedIn, Twitter, social media. Just start writing. Do not write anything derogatory. Do not write anything which hurts the society, which hurts the sentiment of any country, which hurts the sentiment of any caste, creed, religion, or any person. Write anything. Who stops you? Develop listening ability. There are Google Play stores, audio files. Do we listen? If you want to improve our writing, reading, and other communication skill, we also have to be good listeners. Do we listen? We don't. And therefore, who stops you? As I told you, MIT lectures are available. Harvard lectures are available. Why don't we watch? If we watch, what will happen? It will improve our research skill, because they will talk practically about the topic. Number 2, you will improve your vocabulary. Number 3, you will improve your speaking skill. Number 4, you will be improving your presentation skill, and many more. Present yourself in a classroom, Skype, How many times we use Skype for presenting ourselves to the friend who is in US or the friend who is somewhere else, right? You use the messenger and chat box. You chat for 3 hours, 13 hours, 10 hours in a day. But what do we chat? Kaisa hai? The you reply is, I'm not doing anything, kuch nahi. So you are typing KUCHH. I mean, in Hindi context, I'm saying. But that's the platform where you can write properly. And that too with your friend. If you know in your class there is a girl or there is a boy who has good communication skill, why don't you start communicating with her or him? We don't do it. Why don't you work with her or him in her project? You will learn. That's important. Record your presentation. Most importantly, record your presentation. If you are good, record. Again, watch yourself. Ask your parents, ask your sister, brother. They will suggest you, you are horrible. They will suggest you are wonderful. They will suggest you, these are the areas where you need to improve. All these approaches are there in research. Those who are doing some research, ask them. All these actually we do. We ask others, what is our research? How we are doing? How is our result? I know that's 1:15. I'm just going to complete in next 2 to 3 minutes. Kindly allow me. Hardly 2 to 3 minutes, maximum. The last slide. After this, there is a thank you. Please do not worry. Know yourself. The most important thing. The research gives us opportunity to know yourself. And what is know yourself? Identify your strength and weaknesses. The most difficult thing in our life is we do not identify our strength and weaknesses and we do not utilize it. And therefore there is a quote, each soul is potentially divine. The role, the goal is to express and manifest the divinity. How will we manifest the divinity, infinite power in us, until we realize that these are our strength? And there are 4 lines. There are the 4 statements. I know what I know. It means I know the strength. These are the binary combinations. I know what I do not know. Means I know my weakness. I do not know what I know. Most dangerous. I don't know my strength. I know what I know. I know my strength. It means I know my strength. I know my weakness. I don't know my strength. I don't know my weakness. Therefore, it's very important. Do I know myself? If I know myself, I can just apply my strength and always keep trying to overcome the weaknesses and will try to achieve. So that's all from my side. This is my thank you slide. If you can see in the thank you slide, E is equal to MC square, where E is excellence, M is motivation, C is commitment. So more is the commitment. If you are doing some work half-heartedly, if C is 0.5, your excellence is 1/4. If your C is 2, doubly committed, your excellence will be 4. This is a absolutely true inspiring equation for me. Your excellence is, governed by excellence depends on commitment. More you committed, more you will excel. So with this thought, I would conclude my lecture that research-based learning is an approach that anyone can use in the development of employability skill, in becoming competence, and then you will have global opportunities to grab. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It was a wonderful session. I hope definitely our participant will be benefited from your motivational talk towards the research, and we could like to organize such kind of webinars and sessions near future. Sir, can we take up few questions?
Sure. In the beginning only I tell that for next 10 minutes we can take 2 to 3 to 4 questions.
First question from Professor Dhananjay Kumar. Behalf of which one is better in current scenario, jack of all trades or mastering one?
See, mastering one is more important, right? Mastering one approach is more important. That actually research teaches us. Research always teaches us to keep on narrowing, not for widening. Just take up one idea, take one topic, and just keep on going, narrowing and narrowing. And then you will get more mastery and mastery in that area, rather than choosing many things, choosing many domains, and not being able to achieve great in any of the area. So better is to go for one narrow domain, one specific domain, and try to contribute in that.
One more question, sir.
I'm sorry.
From Shashank.
I want to give an example. When I started research, we started research with image processing. Then I moved to medical image processing. I thought it are all broader areas. Now we have limited ourselves only to cognitive science and brain computing. We are trying to estimate, trying to study the cognitive ability of human brain. So that has been narrowed. How we have learned this with the study only. Otherwise, people will just choose any topic, will try to achieve anything and try to get published here and there. So better is to be narrowed.
One more question, sir. Mention which are the video lectures or most relevant material to learn communication skill.
See, that is a very difficult question. That's very difficult question that I have to mention some video lectures. My suggestion is initially what you can do, right? What you can do as far as learning communication skill. All interviews, it may be interview of Dr. Kalam, this may be interview of Mrs. Ambani. There are interviews of all great personalities. Why don't we begin? Why don't we start these interviews? You may be asking that why I'm suggesting this. This will help you in knowing about a lot of contents which they are talking about. Their success stories. Sudha Murthy, she is one of my ideal. Just listen, watch her interviews. Then you will be able to understand communication, great communication skill also. One is asking how she is responding, how to articulate particular thing, how to articulate particular, the success story which you have done in your life. So I will say that there are number of video lectures, but this is a very difficult question for me to suggest you that these are the only video lectures you go for. But I would definitely suggest you Sundar Pichai success stories are there. There are number of video lectures, number of video interviews, number of video, the convocation lectures are there of Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella. Last month only Sundar Pichai delivered one convocation lecture online. So these are, to begin with, let's start these things, and you will understand, you will pick up, and you will improve your the good communication skill.
Sir, another question by Manjushri Gubbi. What is ICT?
ICT is Information and Communication Technology. The department of EC has organized this, so therefore I didn't mention the acronym. Information Communication Technologies. These days, all social media, all these platforms, all are the part of ICT only. That is Information and Communication Technologies. So ICT tools are here, there. All ICT tools are there for our empowerment. So let's use these ICT tools judiciously for empowering ourselves, right? And in developing the skill set. So ICT tools are great, and ICT tools can be accessed by anyone, can be accessed by anyone.
And one more question, sir. What are the different roles in IT companies? What are the different roles?
That this is again an appropriate question to me, right? The person who comes to you in your institute for hiring would be more appropriate person. The persons who are involved in your campus placement. I can definitely answer this question in general way because I have been part of TCS campus placement for 10 years when I was in India. So I have a correct answer for this, but I would avoid answering this question because my answer won't be appropriate. But there are, just Google it. What are the roles and responsibilities in IT sector? You will get some good responses by some responsible persons who are in corporate sector. You can watch those things and you will find that what are the roles, where and what are the requirements for those roles which are required in the industries. That also you'll be able to
know. One more question, sir. Which are the postulates to improve business communication in a corporate world?
Let me tell you, I'm not a coach, or I'm not a person of the business communication or even communication. I told you that when I was doing my BTech from NIT Raipur, I was only able to speak Chhattisgarhi, that is my dialect. I was not even able to speak that time Hindi. So first time when I went outside the state, I realized this is needed. I never attended any type of course and lectures. I just started reading here and there, writing. Writing was my habit since beginning. So I'm not a master of this. What I can say is that in the corporate world, business world is very important. But I just want to mention here that since even though I'm not a professor or teacher of this course, I have done 3 times this course here in Mandalay, Myanmar. In last semester, I have done one course. I have taught one course. The name of the course is Social and Business Etiquette. So social and business etiquette is the part of business communication. It includes so many things, that is netiquettes, how to use internet, precisely, smartly. So there are many things which are involved in business communication. It does not only involve speaking, writing, and presenting. It also involves how to write email. I have seen, people write very badly when it comes to writing and communicating, reaching to the people through email. So how to write good email, how to use the social media, how to use the email and other online tools to communicate to the masses. These are the things which are required in business when it comes to communicating with your boss, communicating with your peers, communicating with your customers, and communicating with many stakeholders which are in business. So I do have idea about this, but I think these are the good questions which are coming up. I mean, the people have interest, and they, with the NQ season, they can start researching about these things.
Over to the another question, sir, from Lakshmi BIST. So my question is that after listening to the seminar, we become enthusiastic or determined for a moment or a day. But how to maintain the enthusiasm in our daily life?
I told you one important, I have already answered this question. What is the secret of my enthusiasm? It is 2:30 here in Myanmar, right? It is 2:30. I'm a diabetes patient, and I was supposed to have my lunch at 12:30, but that time I was not hungry. Now I have hungry, but I'm not feeling that hungriness because I have a passion to teach. I have a passion to talk. And what is more important is, this is not the correct answer, my personal answer. The correct answer to this question is, you always have a goal in your life, big dream in your life. As I told you that I belong to a family where no one was educated. I was the first person who went to school. So one big dream is always in my mind, that I will keep doing things so as to make my great parents proud. So that big dream is always in my mind, that my parents who have never been to school, they are uneducated, they did a lot of struggles for me. So my aim is not to become a professor. I am a successful professor now. I got a number of rewards. So what is my dream? What is my goal? These are not my goal. My goal is to just continuously keep on working so that you can, make yourself proud. You can make your family proud. You can make your parents proud. And in other way, you can make your country and your, area or state proud. So if that big dream is in your mind, that you have something great to accomplish, I will tell you, you will never lose your enthusiasm. You will never lose your energy. You will be always super enthusiastic, super enthusiastic. So I can suggest you that only. That's all.
Sir, there are many more questions to go, but due to
Okay. I think you want to close now.
sir, there is one more question. Name of the YouTube channel of the speaker. Yours.
I answered that my channel is not very much professionally prepared and developed, but I want to tell you one interesting thing. Whatever unprofessionally prepared lecture I am posting, I am getting huge number of appreciations and good comments and responses. So you can, of course, go to that channel. The lectures have been recorded, sometimes with the help of my mobile, sometimes my daughter recorded, me asking or delivering something. So that were posted. You people will send me this video. I'll just post in the YouTube like that. But there are lectures on different topics on communication skill, on how to motivate others, how to write research paper, how to write a research grant proposal. The name of the channel is Dr. G.R. Sinha, Conceptualizing and Motivating. The name of the channel is Dr. G.R. Sinha. If you go to YouTube, you will type Dr. G.R. Sinha, Conceptualizing and Motivating. Because I always believe in the approach where you have to be conceptually strong. You have to help your students to make conceptually strong. And the biggest factor in anyone's life is to be always motivated. And if you are motivated, then you can make your learners motivated. That is, your students motivated. And the secret of the great success is the motivation only. If you are not motivated, I mean, there is a probability that you won't achieve that. So therefore, you see that some 6-7 years ago, 5 years ago, unprofessionally, I never thought that I will have a YouTube channel. I just started for my interest. And the name of that time, I thought Dr. G.R. Sinha conceptualizing and motivating. So those who are, have some interest, they can go and they can comment some bad things about me also, because you will find some bad comments also there. And it's always needed. You must have true feedback.
Thank you, sir, for your motivational words. Now we will move on to the end. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. Honorable Speaker Dr. G.R. Sinha, respected Principal, Sir HOD G.S. Yogesh, East Point College of Engineering and Technology, and all the participants. I, on behalf of East Point IEEE Student Branch from Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, East Point College of Engineering and Technology, extend a very hearty vote of thanks to the honorable delegates who blessed us with their presence and took out the valuable time of their busy schedule. I could like to thank our management and principal, Dr. S. Prakash, East Point College of Engineering and Technology, who always been a backbone for organizing such kind of events. I must mention our deep sense of thanks to our today's session speaker, Dr. G.R. Sinha, for sharing his valuable thoughts and giving his time for conducting this session successfully. Also, I sincerely like to thank the entire team of IEEE Bangalore session and also Dr. Sylvia for her kind support, and all the ECE faculty members, student coordinators, participants, and friends for your support and gratitude. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to be connected with all of you. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.
To all the registered participants, the e-certificate will be provided. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.